fellow dropouts.
From lifestyle, fitness, beauty, travel, relationships, and self-care, Steph's got you covered. Welcome to your safe space, where you can stop what you're doing, relax, and let someone else do the heavy lifting for once. This is the Luxury Dropout Podcast with your host, Stephanie Joplin.
Hey, fellow dropouts, it's Stephanie Joplin here today with my best friend in the whole world. Although we don't really like to claim each other like that. This is Christy Mack.
I don't say I know her at all.
That's a lie. It's a lie. She does claim me. Okay, we're going to move on from that. So Christy and I met 9 and a bit years ago, and I was an MMA journalist at the time, and I was introduced to a person that she was seeing, and I interviewed him, and he ended up putting me on the line with her, and we chatted, and we ended up meeting in person, and we got along really well.
From day one, it was just
day one. Yes.
Like peas and carrots.
It's true. And so then from there, we developed a close friendship. And we have been just, making each other's lives hell ever since then.
Trying to.
Yes. But really, in all honesty, she is the best person I know, the most empathetic and loyal and kind and generous person I know. But don't let her know I said all these things. You should edit this. You should probably edit this part out. You should probably edit this part out.
She loves me.
Maybe a little. So for our audience, obviously, there's going to be a lot of people that are familiar with you, not only because of your notoriety, but because you are my best friend. So people that have been following me for a while probably know who you are.
The entire 9 years from day one.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that, we go on vacations together, you're like basically a part of my family, like the third sister, as my mom likes to say.
Yeah.
But for those of you who don't know, Christy Mack has been in the leadership of the sex work industry for several years, and she built her brand so that it was long lasting and would give her longevity in her chosen career path. It wasn't just one of those things that she just dabbled in it when she was younger just to make a buck and got out. She was tactful and planned all of her moves like chess from the beginning, I like to say. And to me, that's why she's been successful for so many years. So what I'd like to talk about today is, first of all, Christy, can you give us a background about how you got into sex work and what you did and how the beginning part of that was like for you?
Absolutely. So I started doing sex work when I was 19 years old. Back home in Indiana, I woke up one day and I hadn't even watched porn before, really. And I was like, you know what? This sounds fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that I want to do. So a young girl from the middle of nowhere, I flew to Florida, found an agent online, flew to Florida, filmed 3 scenes in my first week, was told that I probably wouldn't get that much work because I had a mohawk and tattoos. It was very different for the time. You have to think, a decade ago, nobody looked like me. Nobody was that, alternative,
right?
As you could say. It was just a totally out of left field. Everyone liked the bleach blonde hair, the big boobs, the straight body, just the very girl next door, also with a little bit of slut thrown in there. And I was just completely different for the time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was prepared to, stack some money for a month, see how much work I could get, see how long I could make it last. And after my first week, I became number 1 on several sites. It was just what the market was calling for. And I found my niche.
Did that surprise you?
Absolutely. Because I was told I can't.
Yeah.
And I decided I was going to do it anyway.
And so did it surprise the people that you were working for as well? Like, were they surprised?
Absolutely. Okay. And even after I became number 1, I was told that this wouldn't last very long. I'm going to shoot my several scenes, get that little bit of money, and then the market was going to dry up. That's it. That's all the further I could work. And I wasn't happy with that answer.
Right.
And I wasn't happy with the management team telling me to put extensions in the side of my head and telling me not to get any more tattoos because that's who I was. That's who I wanted to be. That's what I wanted to look like.
Right.
So I didn't listen to it. And I just kept going with all of it. I kept going with the sex work. I kept going with, you know, my hair, how I wanted to be, with more tattoos, with experimenting with plastic surgeries, just kind of doing what I wanted to do and expressing myself how I felt I needed to.
It's almost like a musical artist who gets told what kind of music to sing, right?
Absolutely.
Same thing. Really.
Absolutely.
But you told me that, so when you do a sex scene, you get paid for the sex scene, but then you don't get paid like royalties. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Unless you are working for yourself, if you're doing a scene for another company, you get paid one flat fee. And it can range anywhere from a few $100s to a few $1,000s, depending on what kind of scene you're performing and who you're performing with and what kind of contract you're under. But you do not get paid the royalties unless it is for your own website or, you know, you've set something up for yourself.
Okay. Can that ever be negotiated? No.
With most companies, no.
Okay.
Most companies, that's your flat fee. Because what they do is they own that content now and they will sell it out. In the time of DVDs, they would sell it out to different companies to make the compilation videos. Like there's still new videos coming out now with my scenes from 10 years ago.
Right.
And marketing it as new. Because it is a new compilation with the several other videos.
Okay.
So I don't own that content, never have, never will. I sold my rights to that.
Okay. So let's talk to, you know, obviously over the pandemic, there was an influx of these beautiful women wanting to express themselves and also hustle and make some money to bring into their, you know, into their income, into their household, doing OnlyFans and other websites that are similar. So, you know, what kind of, so there's my question is really twofold. What kind of advice would you give to the girls who really want to go into the actual, you know, like the porn industry? Like, would you recommend, for example, getting a manager, representing yourself? Would you recommend doing research before you go into it? And what are the things, like, who are the people you need to approach? And then the second half of the question would be like, if you're going the OnlyFans route, what kind of advice would you give to those women?
Well, there are a lot of questions within that.
A lot of questions.
So let me go.
Yes, go ahead.
It really depends on what area of sex work you choose to go into. If you want to do video work, it depends on if you want to be a porn star, quote unquote, that is well known and marketed from a different company that can give you that kind of, build your market for you. Or if you want to be an independent creator and control 100% of your funds. So there are a great many options. And the great thing about OnlyFans is it kind of allows you to be anonymous and sell only what you're comfortable with and do only what you're comfortable with, and build your own base how you want it. And you can market with other women that are similar to you and build off each other's fan bases. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's kind of how the future of the industry is going to go. Like, I think that's exactly where it's going to go. I think the DVD companies and the large companies are going to start dying out. And I don't think there is as much of a need for a marketing manager or a manager at all at this point. While I'm sure there are always going to be the big name porn stars that the large companies do find online, like from OnlyFans or from Instagram or from Twitter. There will always be a few of those, I'm sure. But I think the OnlyFans and the personal sites are really the way to go. So I think the DVD companies and the management companies and the large porn companies are going to become more obsolete.
So what about the online sites like Pornhub, for example? How does one get onto a platform like that? What are the workings of that?
Pornhub is a very polarizing site for a lot of people and for a lot of reasons. It has become the scapegoat for anti-sex trafficking and anti-sex work because they think that people are selling underage girls through that website, or they think that they're putting revenge porn on there and they're not moderating it enough, which I think that does happen. 100% it does happen, but very seldomly. And it is a website just like any other that allows users to post whatever content they want. And it is going to be very difficult for them to moderate it, while they have really cracked down to where you have to have your own username and verification to be able to post that content now. And I think that has helped a great amount and really shut down a lot of the anti-Pornhub people. But it does have a lot of other problems, like for the porn stars of the past, like myself, they would rip content from our independent sites or from the companies, but it wasn't actually them doing it. Sometimes it was the companies themselves putting it on Pornhub to make Pornhub work for them, because there would be people that would buy the DVDs and buy, you know, the content, download it on their own computer and upload it on there. So they would be the ones making money. So the company saw that and they were like, okay, we've got to start doing this before they can do it.
I see.
So the company started doing it. And now it's down to the girls, us posting it. People will take our things from OnlyFans. So now we have to be the ones that take it from our OnlyFans, put it on Pornhub, either monetize it or link it to our own sites. So there's a direct evolution of how things have gone for sites like Pornhub.
It's actually a lot of work.
It really is. And then you have to be sure that other people aren't doing the same thing with your own content. So you have to search through it and make sure that you're the only one.
Flag it.
Yes. And they get to it fairly quickly. But it could have thousands of views or, you know, sometimes millions of views on things that you're not getting paid on.
Yeah, paid. So really, if you're just getting into the sex industry now and you want to go and be quote unquote porn star, that term I know is loose, but you would suggest monetizing it yourself, being in charge of it yourself, and not going to someone and saying, you know, here, place me in this, you know, in this video here, or this, you know, scene here, or just doing it yourself, like being in control of it yourself.
Absolutely. I think it's worth it, unless you know one of the major porn stars already and you can be like, well, you do a video with me. And even then you can still be in charge of your own content. And not be contracted through one of the large companies. It's not worth it if you plan to make it a money game rather than I want notoriety game. Because a lot of people are in it just to.
That's what I was just going to ask.
Yeah. A lot of people are in it to find fame. Which is a weird way to go about it, but if that's what you want to do, by all means.
Well, they always say sex sells, right? Like
it does,
but that's the term.
It always has, and it always will.
Yes, always. And that, I guess some women do think that in order to get famous, that's their only ticket in. But it's not their only ticket in, but I guess it's the quickest way, right?
Yes, but there's still no guarantee that you will be famous. There's still no guarantee that you will make money. So you have to think about longevity. Is this something that I want to put online to last forever? Because it will never come down. Ever. Once you put it out there, that's not something you can take back.
You can't pull a Khloe Kardashian.
Oh God. If only we could. I'm not saying I would, because there would be a lot.
But
you
one bikini picture.
Oh my gosh. One still looked great. Whatever.
I know, she looked amazing. So really, what I want, you know, those out there to know is that, you know, when you get into sex work, you know, I don't want you to go out there with the idea that you're going to make 10 grand and then hop off again. You know, I mean, if that's your goal, just like you need to make 10 G's and that's all cool.
Absolutely.
Like that's fine. But if you want to actually build a career or build financial wealth and security, I wanted Christy to come on and talk a little bit about that, because she quit the industry, I want to say 7 years ago. About 7 years ago. And you would never know that. People still think she's in the industry actively today. And you do have your OnlyFans.
Absolutely.
But you're not active in the porn industry like you were before, you know, doing the AVNs and doing all of the publicity and all of that. So, and I gotta say this, the other day we were in DC and this guy was in a van, like quite far away, like in the other side of the street, And he like yells out the window and he's like, "You're a porn star." And
we're just sitting there like, the eyes on some people. How?
Like, does he have 20/15 vision? Like, I'm like, you're accurate.
Yeah.
But wow, like, I'm impressed. She is this. So she's still so recognizable. I mean, people will be sitting at dinner and a lot of time it's women. It was one guy in DC that actually came up to us who was super sweet. And he was like on the phone with his wife on speakerphone. They're very respectful to her, which I really love. And I think that she has been in charge of that herself because she's really put it out there, like that she does not tolerate disrespect or like tomfoolery of any kind.
I will not be touched.
No.
You will not speak to me a certain way.
Yeah. Like she'll you up. Like I honestly really respect that about her. And I've been very defensive of her over the years. Like if anyone tries to come up and touch her, like when she was living in Vegas, like I literally would turn into the Hulk and I was like, "Get off my friend.
Don't
like,
touch.
Don't touch." Like it was like really dramatic. But you know,
still is.
Yeah. And she's also very like small and cute and little. So I don't want anyone touching her. Hurts my feelings. So building the longevity and continuing her success and keeping her wealth intact has been something that I really admire, because so you can work a corporate job, right, for 15 years and still not have a savings account and still not have $20,000 in the bank to even retire on, and which means you're basically broke again by the time you're 70 years old. Absolutely. So let's give some advice to aspirational sex workers that really want to build that longevity and not necessarily want to work till they're 50 years old. Like what did you do to ensure your success?
There are quite a few things. A lot of people see the money that they're getting and they think, I've never had this before. I can keep this going for a long time. And it feels permanent. It has a feeling of permanence, but it's not. It can stop at any time. Your money flow can stop at any time. So it's important to start saving immediately. And once you build a decent savings and you get more comfortable, start investing and kind of build your portfolio, see where you want to go, and definitely pay your taxes.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that,
especially with OnlyFans.
Yes. A lot of people think that it's a cash game. It is absolutely not. You will see very little cash in sex work unless you are a dancer or escort. Those are really the only times that you will see cash. So other than that, the IRS is getting your number. So you have to remember to pay your taxes, keep track of everything, find a good accountant.
Yes.
That is very valuable. They will teach you lifelong lessons. Even if, you're not going to stay in this industry forever, they will tell you how to keep track of your money, where to put it, what to do with it, how to make your money work for you. Because again, this is not a permanent industry for anyone, whether it lasts 5 months, 5 years, or however long you choose to stay. It will not be forever. So the money, the cash flow will not be forever. Plan for that. Plan what you're going to do after sex work, whether you want to build your brand and then start marketing yourself in a different way. I built my brand, started selling products while I was still in the industry, quit very shortly after. I was only in the industry shooting for main companies for maybe a year and a half. It was not a very long time.
Yeah. I was going to say it was only about almost 2 years.
Yeah. So I started selling products and merchandise while I was still in the industry, quit very shortly after that, and didn't tell anyone. I never told anyone that I stopped shooting.
That's why people think she still is.
I started letting people know in Instagram comments years later that like, I haven't shot since, I don't know, 3 years ago at the time, 4 years ago at the time.
Yeah.
And people were still they're still so confused.
They're still very confused. Yeah.
When are you going to shoot for browsers next? When are you going to shoot for this next? It's been a decade, man. I'm not.
They're just confused at how sexy you still are, maybe.
And all the time people are like, you look so different.
Yeah.
I'm 30.
We evolved.
I'm 30. I'm not going to look like I'm 19 forever. It's not going to happen. It's impossible. I've got my Botox. Look,
Yeah, I know, same.
That's the only thing.
I really wish I could pull up your skater boy photo at this point in time. I really love, she has this, like, I think it's a photo from MySpace that her brother sent me. It legit looks like Avril Lavigne.
So I went through a phase. Everyone goes through phases. In high school, I was Christy Death.
Christy Death?
DETH.
Oh my God, I don't even know this.
You can still find it. You can still search it on Google or MySpace or whatever, and you can see photos of me, like,
I'm dead.
In the shower, because that was my white background, like my face against it, all dramatic. All of my makeup and my hair was just all kinds of, and just like, just sad selfie.
I love
it. It was bad. And that kind of set me up for who I was after that, with the mohawk and everything. I never really changed.
Yeah,
she's still inside. In there. But yeah, that's there are still photos out there of that, and people will try and like bring those up, or bring up photos from before I had my nose job, or like before I had my boob job, and like I should be embarrassed of that. No, honey, I was still cute as heck.
I mean, let's just say one of the nose jobs was something you didn't choose.
Yeah, it wasn't my choice. Yeah,
you know, just saying.
But I like this nose anyway.
Just like some subtle shade. I'm not going to say anything else about it, but that was my subtle shade.
But it's still a cute nose.
It's really cute. Are you joking? I love it. I think you're more beautiful today than when I met you.
I would agree with that, actually.
Yeah, like, I'm being legit.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. But I would definitely agree with that. I know how to take care of my skin better now. Because when you met me, I wouldn't even moisturize. No. I would just be like,
and she wouldn't she wouldn't eat properly, like in terms of like, she would just eat whenever at whatever times. Yeah. And like now she and I both, actually, I mean, we're so much better with, you know, we still indulge, we still have dessert, we still eat pasta and whatever, but we know like what and when to put into our bodies, you know, like
I eat mostly for sustenance now instead of pleasure.
Yeah.
Even though I still, I'm still very happy, but now I can season chicken, and rather than eating a hamburger from McDonald's. Yes, I cook for myself. Well, I live in a place where I must cook for myself almost all of the time. There's very little opportunity to go other places.
I'm actually starving right now
I haven't cooked for her today.
There's also no Uber Eats here.
There is no Uber Eats here. There is just
I accept it, but
there are pretty trees.
It's really pretty. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful here,
but it's a very
but your lifestyle is completely different. I feel like you just live day to day back then.
Yeah.
And now you live for a particular future. Mm-hmm. And I think that is an important message to send to young women, because you have to remember that it's not about just tomorrow. It's about looking ahead. And I know that we're always taught, like, don't look too far ahead, you'll stress yourself out. But I think it's so important to, I'm not saying you have to write out a 5-year plan. I'm just saying, like, think about how your actions are going to affect you 10 years from now.
Absolutely. And especially going into sex work, that is something that you have to think about.
Yeah.
Because as I said before, that is something that is forever.
Yes.
Whether you want it to be or not, it is. Once you put yourself and your body on the internet, it is there for good. So think about how this will impact your future. Let's say you want to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. Don't do mainstream porn. You can do OnlyFans if you're not going to show your face, right? And you don't have any identifiable tattoos. Mm-hmm. That's fine. I support that 100%. But you have to think, not everyone is going to be as open-minded as you hope they are. It's never going to happen. Aren't. Yeah, it's never going to happen.
It's funny because to me, Americans are the most sex-crazed people in the world, and the most conservative at the same time.
I would agree with that.
Isn't that wild?
Like the dichotomy of America.
Like you go to Italy, and there's boobs on TV, like on a commercial, no big deal. Yeah. No big deal. But then here, it's like, if there were boobs on TV, there would be like an uprising.
Absolutely.
I mean, but there's OnlyFans. I mean, it just doesn't, it's just, I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah, I agree with that. How we shame the sex workers that we also indulge in. I
can't stand it.
Again, it's the dichotomy of the sexualized America.
I can't stand it.
I agree, but you can't force people to see things the way that you do. Like now where I live in a place that's very, I don't know.
It's more conservative,
very conservative. And I do feel prejudged quite a bit. But once somebody gets to know me and myself, it's just, you know, I'm totally fine.
Yep.
Nobody's going to speak badly about me for the most part. I do rub people the wrong way sometimes. Everyone does. You can't love everyone.
If anyone says something very like judgmental, you will be the first to say something. Like you'll speak up, even if you don't even know the person, you'll say something, and that's fine. Yeah. I think that you should. But I find that, you know, even introducing you to my other friends, immediately once they met you, oh my God, I love Christy. Now I can see why you guys are best friends. Like I totally get it. And, you know, I think people do prejudge, like they're like, see the tattoos, they see what you've done in the past, and they're like, oh, she's this certain way. Well, you're not. Like you're just completely the opposite of what that is.
But even if you choose to indulge in that sex worker personality and persona, and that's just who you are, and you're a bimbo and you love it, good for you.
Yeah.
I love that. That's fantastic. And like that is some people.
Yeah.
And like, I love that.
That's their shtick.
Yeah.
Right.
But for me, it's just I'm just kind of like a wholesome, down to earth, like, I don't even know how to tell people about myself, describe myself, because I just,
you know that trend that was like, just tell everyone you're an accountant because no one asks like any other questions. Yeah. Like I have a full-time job as an accountant, and like, just, it's a conversation killer.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah. So just, they don't ask questions. So how did you choose, so after you were done with filming, how did you choose how you wanted to brand yourself and market yourself after that to continue your revenue stream?
It was really difficult, actually, how I was going to figure out what I would do next in my progression as a sex worker or just an individual. I was selling products online. Well, I still am at themacmarket.com. I am still selling those products, and that sustained me for quite a while.
But you were also working behind the scenes of that.
Absolutely. 100%. And now it's as my progression went, I did porn. I was a sex worker. Then I was just peddling products that were about my brand, because I was peddling the products. I was selling my own magazines that I had been on covers of. Absolutely. Yeah. I was selling hats with my name on them. I was selling t-shirts.
That inked magazine with the lollipop?
Oh, there was one with the ice cream, and then the one with my snakes. So it was like,
I remember you texted me on the day of that shoot, and you're like, I'm covered in sticky mess, because you had the ice cream all over.
Yeah, there was ice cream, there were watermelons. I had, I don't know, I was just covered in food, and I don't know why they chose it. And
food is like a fetish.
Yeah. They just covered me in food all day. It was like a solid 12 hours of me just,
I love those pictures.
Just eating, eating sweets all day.
And the camp out was, oh my God, I love that.
I did two of them actually. Very cute shoots.
So cute.
So I would just sell magazines and hats and t-shirts, posters, everything with just my brand, my face, my name. My name is very powerful, just one syllable, Mac. That's it. And that's how I branded
Christina. People like to tell her what her name is, just like a little inside joke.
They'll go on my Instagram, leave a comment. I love you, Christina. It's not even my name. It's not my name. It's not on my birth certificate. One guy argued with me. We went to high school together, and he's like, I remember when you were Christina Mackenday, and I'm like, well, I've never been Christina Mackenday. He's like, no, I have proof. It's in my yearbook, and I'm like, go look at it, please, because that's not my name.
Should we call your mom right now and see?
Call my mother.
Yeah.
Ma'am,
what's my real name?
Mom, what'd you name me?
She'd be like, what the fuck do you?
Why are you calling me?
Christina.
But
that was very smart though. And like Mackenday, obviously, like you think about it now, it makes sense, but coming up with Mac, like right away, did you think about it? Or was it something that came over time?
It's just something that when I was younger and I was working at Nike with my brother, they would just call us the Macs because it was a shortened version of our name and easy.
I like that.
You won't just be like Mac and Days.
Yeah.
No, it's just the
because her brother also goes by that same moniker too.
So it was just easier to lump us in that way. And we both just kept it. We both just kept the name Mac. And I figured going into the industry, like, if you see me, you're going to know it's me. Mm-hmm. I'm easily identifiable, always have been. So why not just keep my name? Why not just keep it short? Just keep it. So I did.
Naming yourself like Narwhal or something. I don't know. Like what? Like they come up with, I think
Narwhal. I haven't heard the Narwhal before.
Well, there was this,
that's not sexy.
There was this stripper that was on TikTok and her name was Sativa. And I was like, she must really like weed. And so I thought like Narwhal, like a mystical creature, unicorn.
So it's a good thing you're not going to be a sex worker.
It's really good because I'm
Narwhal.
Can you imagine?
Onlyfans.com/narwhal. I'm going to see if that's one.
Dying. Narwhals aren't real, right? They're not real.
What the?
I can't breathe. Were they ever real?
They're real. They're real.
No, but are they extinct?
I don't think so.
This has gone off the rails. It's gone off the rails.
I'm asking such stupid questions. They're like, no, I'm not even going to answer.
They're not. Thank God.
They're near threatened, but they're still in existence.
Oh wow. Okay, they're real. See,
we know they're real.
Well,
you didn't know they're real.
I didn't know. I thought they were mystical creatures.
I think you're an idiot.
I know. So going back to how you marketed yourself after you exited the porn industry.
Hold on, I'm still trying to find it on OnlyFans.
Okay. Cue the Jeopardy music.
Okay. Nope. Not on there.
Okay. Well, looks like that's my username.
You just post pictures of sexy narwhals.
I should, like in bikinis.
Yeah.
Topless.
Now that you know they actually exist.
Oh, sexy narwhals. So we know that you merchandise yourself. We know that you put your name out there. We know that you put your face and your name on everything. Mm-hmm. Now you did also dance. So tell us a little bit about how that came to pass and how you kept that going.
So I think it was probably 4 years after I stopped doing porn, I started to dance. A lot of girls would feature dance while they were doing porn, and then escort on their tours.
Can you explain what feature dance means?
Absolutely. So feature dancing, a club will contact you and offer you a spot on a weekend to promote you and your fans to come out. So you'll dance sometimes Thursday through Sunday or just a Friday, Saturday, and you'll do 1 or 2 stage shows a night. Your fans will come, tip you. You can do private dances. You can sell your merchandise. You can do whatever you want, basically. Yes, meet and greets. You can sell pictures, do whatever you want. I did mine a little differently because a lot of girls would just show up, feature wherever, just kind of plan it for a moment. I planned about a year in advance a whole tour.
Yep.
Had t-shirts made with my tour dates and everything for my first year because I wanted it to be an event. I wanted it to be like a concert. I wanted people to show up, show out. I wanted to feel like this was an event,
like a rock star.
Big. Yeah, that's how I wanted to feel. I tried to, negotiate a tour bus. It wasn't happening, and I wasn't about to buy
the Mac bus.
Oh my God,
that would have been really fun.
Just the dogs rolling with me across the country. So I really got it dialed in. I took pole dancing classes.
And you took them seriously?
Yes, very. I hired a private teacher. I designed my own outfits. I wanted something very unique. I did an electrical tape outfit.
Yeah, that was so unique.
Thank you. Yeah, I had never seen it done before, never heard of it being done before. And since there have been a few, but they've contacted me first, like, hey, is it okay if I use? Absolutely, by all means.
Yes.
So I would design very intricate.
Tell them what that is.
I would design very intricate outfits on myself of electrical tape that looked like just a very tight fitting bikini or, something that was painted on. But as I would go out in the audience, I would have women in the audience peel off pieces, one piece of tape at a time.
Yeah.
So it was very interactive, but not, I don't know, aggressively, overly sexual.
Right.
Or I don't know. It just felt more classy to me.
Yes.
Which I wanted it to be for myself.
I want it to be more burlesque.
Yes, more burlesque, less stripper. Not that there's anything wrong with stripping. No. Absolutely not. Obviously I do it, but I just wanted something different.
I wanted your vision. That was your vision.
I wanted everything about this Mac tour to be unique and different and an experience, something that these people would really come to the strip club for, even if they've never been before. And it was phenomenal. The first year, it was amazing. Well, every year that I did it, it was amazing. I had the best time meeting everyone. My shows were fantastic. They were packed.
Very professional, always.
Absolutely. My manager would come on tour with me.
Security.
The security, all of the staff were always amazing. Everything was as I had dreamed it. Yep. And it always has been since. I haven't danced obviously in the past couple of years, but
they, it's like a musician. It would be like they put her up in a hotel. They gave her, say a stipend or a dinner or whatever it is, or they would provide transportation for her from the airport, back and forth, things like that. So, everything was taken care of more or less for her.
Yeah. So I had a rider. So anything that I wanted would be at the club for me already. I had a private dressing room. I was, my candy. Candy and my cherry Coke. I would have everything that I wanted. I would have my own hotel room, as would my manager. The flights out were covered. The transportation was covered. They would pay my fee every night, and then they would pay separately for my meet and greets, because I never charged my fans to take pictures with me. So the club would charge the ticket price, whatever their fee was, and that would be it. I would never ask for more money from anyone for anything. I would hand out merchandise on stage, whether it be a hat or a t-shirt, stickers. And that way people could feel like they got something for coming into the club that night, as well as, seeing me dance. Yeah. And
about the other dancers, tell them about the other dancers. Like, they were excited that you were coming in too.
Absolutely. Whether it was for financial reasons, because I was bringing a new clientele in, and, 600, 700, 800 people a night. Some of them could be cheap, but it's a new clientele that maybe had never been to the club before. And some of the girls had seen me online and were just excited to meet me in general. Yeah. And I loved that. I really loved the club dancers, the house dancers. Yeah. Always amazing. I never had a negative experience with any of the girls, with anything. Actually,
they were so thrilled.
Yeah. I've never had a bad experience on the road.
And I remember them thanking you. They were like, the house is packed. Thank you so much. They were really grateful. I thought that was just really cool.
Yeah. And they're always so sweet and so kind. And if I ever go to their stage, of course, I'm tipping them as well. Some of them try and give me their tips. No, absolutely not.
No, honey.
No, you keep your money here. Take some more.
Yeah. Yes.
Make that man give me his money, and then I'll give it to you.
So speaking of being so generous, you don't get enough credit for this. And if you're comfortable, we can talk about it, but I want to talk a little bit about your charitable efforts. So you don't have to name them all, but because there's so many, and she helps out not only charitable organizations, but she helps out friends. She helps out friends of friends, no matter who it is, no matter what they're going through. If something were to happen to me and say I didn't have any financial way of getting out of it, she wouldn't even think twice to help me. And I know that. So let's talk a little bit about the charitable organizations that you are very fond of. Let's give them a little bit of light. And let's talk a little bit about, what your passions are in that aspect.
Absolutely. I donate 5 figures every month to charities. I've never stuck with one charity in particular, whether it is a dog rescue, whether it is a domestic violence advocation. It could be a cancer fund. It could be anything, whether there's a world event that's happening that I feel needs more donations, I will put funds in there. And I do that all silently.
Yeah.
I don't need to put it online. I don't need to show like, look, I gave $30,000 to this. It's nobody's business, but I will put out this, whatever it is, whatever charity I see that needs funds at the time, I'll post it in my story. And a lot of people give me flack for it. They're like, well, you have money. Why don't you do it? Like I would never put a charity up that I haven't personally donated to myself before, because that's silly.
Yeah, that's silly.
But I put up a lot of charities in my stories. If you guys want to go on my Instagram, Instagram.com/Christy Mack, and my stories, every day or two, there are adoptable dogs, or there are different charities through domestic violence resources that could use a little help at the time. Yeah. There are just any kind of fund that you could possibly think of. And maybe if you don't want to donate to that particular fund, you could find one in your own community that you feel you could impact. Even if it
doesn't have to be
$2, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Or donate your time, you have old blankets or towels. They can go to so many different resources.
That's so true.
Yeah. If you have old rags around, if you have t-shirts that have holes in them that Goodwill won't take, an animal shelter will. Like there are so many different places that you wouldn't even think of donating to. But maybe a post of mine or a post of somebody else's that I repost will spur you to think about that. Yeah, there are just so many ways that your own, not even monetary self, but your physical self can help.
Even if you like to spread knowledge about the cause, even sharing a post would help.
Yes.
That's what I have found too. Maybe not necessarily I've been able to donate money at that time, but sharing information about it has helped a lot.
Absolutely.
Just to make people informed.
Yes. Yeah. You can spread anything. And hopefully it's a positive thing, because, because, the internet does give you access to so many everything
and falsities too.
Yes, absolutely. You have to really look into whatever charity you're going to donate to. 501c3s are the best because they are registered, but sometimes it is like a GoFundMe of somebody that has cancer or anything like that. GoFundMe is a great system since we don't have universal health care and we don't have access to a lot of things that could help. If it is found to be a fake thing, they will give you your money back.
That's
so
good.
It's great. Yeah. It's great. So GoFundMe is a great resource for people. Sometimes I'll browse on there and see if there's anything that I think I could help with. If I'm just like feeling down myself that night, sometimes things like that make me feel better, knowing that I am making a difference in somebody's day in a positive way.
That's her love language, by the way. That's how she shows love. It's gift giving.
It is. Yeah. I will send people flowers. Like, I'm not having a good day. I'm going to send somebody flowers.
Yeah. I think you receive, I think it depends for romantic, I think, or friendship. For friendship, I think yours is quality time, the way you receive. And then I think between physical touch and quality time for romantic, I would say. And then the way that you give out is for sure gift giving.
Yeah. I am a gift giver.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm not always good at like words of affirmation, like you're doing great, but I am good at like,
I mean, you are, she shoots it to you straight. If I'm crying, she'll listen to me and she'll like take in everything that I'm saying, but she's not necessarily the most like, it's okay, my love, don't worry. That's really like not her personality, but like she'll send me like a coloring book that's like, go f yourself coloring book or whatever, right?
And that works.
And that's like her way of being like, it's okay, and that's the way she expresses her love.
It doesn't work for everyone.
Right.
It's not going to be okay for everyone.
No.
But for some people it works.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it works for us.
Yes. And our friendship is definitely unique. It's kind of like,
it is
we
really
figured each other out over the years.
Yeah. And we know like how far we can push each other with making fun of each other. Like it's really at the line. Like we're almost at the edge.
And then I'll push her over.
And then I'm just like,
if I have the opportunity to throw someone off a cliff, I'm going to do it.
Damn. It's ruthless. So I want to talk about one more thing before I get to my last question, which is how would you advise, say, a girl in her 20s that comes from a more strict family, that is afraid of stigma, that is afraid of being, labeled a quote unquote slut. What advice would you give to those women who really do want to genuinely get into sex work the correct way, but are struggling with that thought in their head, I'm going to be judged?
If you're not secure enough with yourself to kind of make that leap and take the criticism, I think maybe it's time to rethink your route. Maybe sex work isn't the best for you. Maybe give it a couple years to stew on it and think about it and openly discuss it from, a third person perspective. Well, what about if this person were to do this? Like, do hypotheticals with your family and friends and get feels for how they're feeling about it.
Right.
If they're going to be very negative and it's going to ruin your relationships and all of your bridges, if it's going to burn all your bridges, I would say don't do it unless, those are things that you're comfortable with listening. If those are people that you don't necessarily want in your life. Like for me, if I found out that, let's just say hypothetically that, my mom were a racist, which she's not, and I were dating a black man.
I see a headline.
Like
Christy, my mom racist. Cut that.
I would be fine with cutting her out of my life because I don't want somebody like that in my life. I wouldn't be comfortable with that. I would choose my new path over something like that. So that's really something, it's personal to you, whether you want to make that jump and whether you want to burn those bridges and those connections, or if you think that a personal connection in that way, such as you being a sex worker, will make them kind of see a new path and a new light and kind of turn them into someone that's more open. So you kind of just get your own feel for that. And you obviously have your own choices to make. And I can't guide you 100% about what to do and just say, oh, fuck it, I'm going to do it. You should do it.
Yeah.
No, that's a personal choice. You have to really consider, because it's not something, again, it's not something that you can take back.
No.
And it's not something that everyone will forgive you for, even though you don't need forgiveness or permission. It's not something that, a more conservative family would be open to. It's not something that, friends that are constantly putting down women for being a slut would necessarily forgive or understand. So you just have to assess your relationships and your personal bonds with people in your life and see if that is something you want to do.
How did your mom first react when you told her?
She didn't mind at all.
Right.
She's
pretty chill.
Yeah.
Right.
She 100% has always been of the mind, if I'm not hurting anyone else, then why would it be a problem?
Right.
I'm not doing anything that is negatively impacting people. Even though some people do, the more conservative people do see porn as negatively impacting people, I have never directly harmed anyone with my actions.
No.
So my mother has never seen a problem with it. My brother has never seen a problem with it.
Except for he's like, ah!
Yeah, we can't watch porn anymore. That's not my problem. There's OnlyFans.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Like anytime I'm like, if I ever scroll through porn, I'm like, no!
Blindfolds.
Well, thank you.
Just listen to it. It's not
I know. Ew. I know your voice.
But nobody in my life has ever judged me negatively for my actions, because I have not harmed anyone in any of our eyes.
And I would say my family is pretty freaking conservative.
Absolutely.
I mean, compared to most, I would say. And they never once hesitated to bring her in, like family, because they met her and they don't prejudge people. That's something about my family that is really cool. And they didn't prejudge, even though I did tell them at the time that she was in the sex work industry, but they just met her and they fell in love with her, because of her amazing personality. She's witty, she's intelligent. She could match wits with anybody. Mark me on this, except for about narwhals, apparently. But maybe planning a trip or calling down for more pillows. But besides those things, she can match.
I have anxiety.
I do too.
I can't call people on the phone.
Not when I need things, though. Never. Then I don't have anxiety.
I could never pick up the phone and call someone ever.
You called for the buggy that one time in Indonesia.
I did.
You did call.
It was hard.
It was hard for you. But yeah, I mean, they never did judge her. So just going back to that, I just want to say, make sure you feel out your family before you just cut out your dream. You know, make sure you fill them out, because you might be surprised. They might be supportive.
Absolutely.
Depending on which way you go about it. If you go to them and you're saying, this is my business plan, and you're like, this is my goal for this, and this. These are my financial things. This is what I plan to do every day to create content. Like they may be supportive.
And you have to remember, it is extremely difficult to keep up a lie. Don't do it if you can avoid it.
No, that's hard.
If you can avoid it, don't do it. And I understand some people really need their familiar support system. So they have to keep up this lie for a long time. Of course, every situation is different. I wouldn't say, 100% never lie. If you have to lie to your family for that,
for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time, it's got to be really hard. So maybe don't do that.
Yeah, right.
If you can avoid it, don't lie to your family. Don't lie to your support system, because you will have hard days going through and being a sex worker. You will have very difficult days ahead. So lying to your support system in that is asking for a lot of mental and emotional trauma that you don't have to put yourself through.
Yeah.
Unless you can afford a great therapist, and by all means do it.
And there are ways to be on OnlyFans without showing completely nude, without having sex on camera. There's different ways to go about that.
You create your own content, you create your own market. I know I have advised several women of how to do OnlyFans without being nude, without selling sex, without doing all of these things.
You could do like a tough workout in a bikini.
Absolutely.
I think really
I've suggested that before. Do workouts, do whatever you're comfortable doing, and do not push your own boundaries, because you will regret it in the long run.
That's good advice. So I ask this to every guest on my show. And what I want to know is, say you walked up to yourself on the street. You literally just saw yourself at 20 years old on the street, as you are today as a 30-year-old woman. And you ran up to her and you gave her like this big warm hug. And you were just like really excited and emotional to see her. And you pulled away from the hug. And what is the first thing that you say to that woman?
Oh man, that's difficult.
Yeah, it's a hard question. You can think about it.
I would really tell her that everything's going to be okay. Because for me, I have a lot of women message me, and we were going over this yesterday. I have a lot of women message me and tell me that they've been in similar positions to myself, and that seeing me live my life to the fullest and without exception, they tell me it's given them confidence and knowledge to know that they're going to be okay, and that life does go on, and it gets better. Everything gets better. And I think that's what I would say to myself. It gets better. Yeah. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Just.
Would you warn her about any of the stuff coming?
No, I wouldn't change a single thing that has happened in my life.
Not many can say that.
Even in my negative experiences, I wouldn't change it. Because for having those experiences, I am better, and I have a greater reach, and I have a better message, and I have a more in-depth, I guess you would say, knowledge of what a great number of people have gone through. And it gives me a reason to help and a way to help.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like that message.
Thank you.
I think there would be some things I would warn your younger self about. Maybe like one or two things I would just probably tell her to stay clear from.
You know what? If I were nitpicking, there are small things that I'd be like, listen.
You know, the subtle shade for me today. We're not going to say what those things are, but thank you so much for coming on The Luxury Dropout. You are such an amazing friend.
Thank you.
I know you don't do podcasts really, but this has actually been insightful, and I've actually learned some stuff about you that I didn't know before. How can my listeners support you?
If you want to see more of the charities that I post or me in a bikini, there is Instagram.com/Christy Mack or OnlyFans.com/Christy Mack. I also have Twitter.com/Christy Mack.
We used to be on that all the time.
Oh my God.
But we lived there.
Oh my God.
We had tents. Like we just lived on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mac Market?
Yes, the MacMarket.com. I have hats, t-shirts, stickers, posters, everything on there.
Yes, perfect.
If you're interested.
Yes, of course.
No pressure.
No pressure. There we go. I will link them all for you guys in the description box. So make sure if you are on YouTube, you like, subscribe, follow, turn that notification bell on. Until next time, I love you guys. Bye from me and Christy, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
That's a wrap for this episode of The Luxury Dropout. Make sure to visit StephanieJoplin.com to find all of Steph's episodes, including full podcast descriptions and photos of her guests. Until next time, besties.